What's up, my guys? And welcome back to the Retro Report Card. I'm your host, Cody. Now, what I do for this new series here is I pick an old pay-per-view, I grade each match on that show, and then I tally them some bitches up, and then at the end of the show, I give that pay-per-view its own report card. Now, the cool part is how I choose which pay-per-view I'm going to do next. What I do is I have my viewers, that's you beautiful people, comment your birthdays down in the section below with the year, and then I'll scroll through, randomly pick on a birthday, and then I'll do a video over the first pay-per-view that aired after that person was born. For example, on my last video over SummerSlam 1992, I scrolled through the comments and landed on my guy Avery, who was born December 30th, 2003. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the clocks, turn them back to January 2004 as we revisit the Royal Rumble. Now, remember at this time point, WWE was leaving the Attitude Era. There's no more Rock, there's no more Stone Cold. And Vince McMahon really needed to make new stars, and he needed them fast. And there's not many better places to do that than at the Royal Rumble. So in this video, we obviously have that Rumble to look forward to, but this card also featured matches with the likes of the late great Eddie Guerrero, Brock Lesnar, and Rey Mysterio. I mean, our opening bout was a tables match with the Dudley Boys taking on Ric Flair, woo, and Batista. Plus, we had the World Heavyweight Championship on the line as the former DX teammates Triple H and Shawn Michaels went to war in a last man standing match. So let's see how well WWE handled this transition period, and without further ado, let's get to grading. Now, you got the tag team titles on the line in this opening match, in a tables match, as you got the chance. Ric Flair, woo, and Batista, they're taking on the Dudley Boys. Now, y'all know this is the Dudley Boys special. Brother Devon, get the tables! Now, there is so much animosity between these two teams coming into this match that a table made it into the ring before a person did. These four were just beating the hell out of each other all around the ring. Now, once they finally got into the ring and the match officially got underway, it did not take long at all for them to get the tables involved. I mean, you know how the Dudleys are when it comes to tables. After they get done moving the furniture around, they set up Ric Flair for the 3D, but out of nowhere, Jonathan Coachman, of all people, ran down to help the Nature Boy out. Unfortunately, all he got was a power slam, but he was still able to cause enough of a distraction to allow Batista to slam Brother Devon through the table and, yes, retain the tag team titles. For that there opening match, I'm going to give it a C. Like, for that being a tables match, there really wasn't that much action, but it was still a solid match to start us off nonetheless. Hey, a little fun fact, coming into this 2004 Royal Rumble, the tag team titles had only changed hands twice, with the Dudley Boys being the victors both times. Ironically, the third time was not the charm, as they not only lost, but they lost in their specialty, which is a tables match, to a couple of guys that aren't even a legit tag team. Like, come on, Vinnie Mac, they deserve better than that. Well, that was just the first of many title matches tonight, as next up, you got the Cruiserweight Championship on the line. As you got the champ, Rey Mysterio, he's defending against the man, the GOAT, the legend, Jamie Noble. Now, I couldn't even make up this next part if I tried. Jamie Noble came down to the ring with his blind girlfriend at the time, who has helped him out winning in the past by tripping up his opponents. On this night, she was back to her old ways as she tripped up a competitor, but unfortunately for the GOAT, Jamie Noble, she tripped him up this time. This allowed Rey Mysterio to get up, hit the 619, and get the 1-2-3 to retain his title. Now, for that match, I'm going to give it a C+. Obviously, it's always going to be a great match when the GOAT is involved. But seriously, though, did Rey Mysterio ever have a bad match in the early 2000s? Moving on, you got the late, great Eddie Guerrero. We miss you, champ. He's taking on his nephew, Chavo. And let me tell you a little story about how this match came into fruition. Now, this ain't a story about sunshine and rainbows or about family love. Nah, this is a story about jealousy and betrayal. Now, betrayal on its own is bad enough, but when it comes from your own family, sheesh. So the Guerreros, they lost their tag team titles, and Chavo put the blame solely on his Uncle Eddie. I mean, he was so mad at him that he not only let Eddie get beat down while he looked on, but Chavo went on to even lay in a couple cheap shots of his own after Eddie was already beaten down. Fast forward, and then Eddie is in the ring with Chavo and his dad, who is Eddie Guerrero's older brother. Now, instead of hashing things out like families do, we get yet another cheap off, and the father and son duo then go on to just lay waste to their own family member. At this point, Eddie has yet to retaliate on his nephew. I mean, my guy's heart was just broken. But when a man is down, sometimes we need that one homie who could just light a fire under our ass, which is exactly what Kurt Angle did. He talks Eddie into taking this match against that sack of shit nephew of his at the Royal Rumble, and boom, here we are. It was to no one's surprise that Chavo needed his daddy ringside. It was also no shocker that his pops decided to get involved early as he slammed Eddie's head right off the steel steps. I mean, what a dick. Now, as Eddie makes his way back to the ring, Chavo just starts disrespectfully slapping his uncle in the face, but Eddie still couldn't bring himself to strike his nephew. I mean, hey, he's a better man than me. Chavo continued with the disrespect as he attempted to hit Eddie with his own Three Amigos suplex, but Unc cut his little ass off and went on to show him how the move is done, baby. Eddie then followed that up with his patented frog splash, which allowed him to get the 1, 2, 3. After the match, just because Eddie said he wouldn't hit Chavo Jr., that didn't mean the same for his pops, as Eddie hit his brother with a two-piece hold the biscuits followed by a low blow. And yes, Eddie Guerrero finally lost his cool, and that no hitting his nephew bullshit was out the window as my guy tied up Chavo Sr. and Eddie just started whooping his nephew's ass right in front of his dad. Whew, that was savage. I'm gonna give this here a B. Like, I thought this was a pretty good match. I just wish it would have went on a little bit longer because this was some good stuff. And Eddie Guerrero, I think I speak for us all when I say we love you and we miss you, champ. But hey, speaking of champs, we gotta keep it moving on because next up, you got the WWF Championship on the line as you got the champ, Brock Lesnar. He's defending against Hardcore Holly. Now, these two just had a match 18 months prior, and Lesnar attempted a powerbomb, but he dropped Holly on his head, ultimately breaking his neck. So yeah, my guy's a little pissed off. And after waiting 18 months, Holly said, "I'm not waiting any longer." Oh no, before Brock could even pick his nose, Holly ran up, gave Brock a little beatdown before chunking his big ass into the ring. Holly then got a little too zealous as he climbed up to the top rope. He misfired, which allowed Brock to take control. Now Holly mounted up some offense involving an Alabama slam, and he even attempted his full Nelson, but it wasn't enough as Brock broke free, hit the F5, got the 1, 2, 3, and that big son bitch retained his WWF title. I'm gonna slap a D+ on that. I mean, that was kind of hard to watch. It was really slow. Like, there was just a ton of way too long submission holds, and then it just abruptly ended with an F5. I mean, I thought that was a pretty good storyline, and we could have got way better out of that. But hey, I digress, because we still have another title match to look forward to. That's right. You got the World Heavyweight Championship on the line. I'm talking about Big Goldie, as you got the champ, Triple H, taking on the challenger, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, in a last man standing match. Now, what that is that there are no pinfalls, no tap outs, no count outs, or no disqualifications. The only way to win this match is to beat your opponent up so bad that he cannot make it to his feet before the referee's 10 count. After a very physical start between the two former teammates, these two spill outside of the ring and they end up standing on top of the announcers' tables, trading blows. And the tables were still up for now. HBK then climbs the ropes and he hits a springboard moonsault, but Triple H moved, sending HBK crashing through those poor announced tables. They can never catch a break. Now at this point, Michael's face was so bloody that my guy looked like a colorblind Braveheart. Now Triple H's frustration was growing and it started showing because no matter how many times he laid Michaels out, somehow that sumbitch kept getting back up. I mean, Trips even grabbed a steel chair and cracked HBK across his notoriously problematic back, but once again, he still made it up before the count of 10. Shawn Michaels then returned the favor and bloodied up Triple H after he delivered a chair shot of his own. While he had the game down, HBK then climbs up the ropes and hits his elbow drop. And now he's over there tuning up the band. But out of nowhere, Triple H comes and hits him with a low blow. That son of a bitch. Not only does he do that, but he follows that up with his patented pedigree. HBK thankfully was able to not only make it up to his feet at 9.99 seconds, but then he delivered some of that there sweet chin music as well. And then, what does WWE give us after this great match for being such loyal fans? A double freaking countout. Yeah. I mean, can y'all at least take me out to dinner before? Never mind, I won't go there. But I will give it a grade, and it's getting a B-. Like, how do you waste such a good match with two guys with all of that history just to have it in a double countout? Like, come on, man. But hey, it don't matter because we still got to keep moving forward. Next up, we got the 30-man Royal Rumble. That's right. The only way to be eliminated is to be sent over the top rope with both of your feet hitting the floor. Last person in the ring, they get to go main event WrestleMania with whatever title choice that they want. So for our 2004 Royal Rumble, our first two entrants were Chris Benoit and Randy Orton. But to be honest, it really wasn't until our 12th entrant before it started to get interesting. And in that 12th spot was none other than Kane, who just got done literally burying The Undertaker, his own brother, at Survivor Series. And man, I thought my brother was shitty. Yeah, I mean, he still is, but that's besides the point. Anyways, after Kane came in and basically wrecked shop, out of nowhere, we hear the bells toll. And Kane looked like he either A, seen a ghost, or B, that big old red sumbitch just shit himself. Come to find out, it was all mind games being played by The Undertaker, and it worked to perfection. Because just as Kane was distracted, Booker T snuck up behind him and sent him flying over the top rope. Now, next up, Spike Dudley, he drew the unlucky 13th entrant, which lived up to the hype. Poor Spike. He was just happy to be here, but Kane saw his little happy ass and decided to introduce his spine to the steel ramp out of frustration. We then got to a point where Orton and Benoit just started going nuts as they gathered 6 quick eliminations between the two. And I'll be damned if we weren't back down to the two guys who started this whole sumbitch out. Moving along, we get to the 21st entrant and then test music starts playing, but he's nowhere to be found. Turns out he's laid out backstage, and then Stone Cold appears out of nowhere, and then he's yelling at the attacker, and then very politely informs him that he will now be number 21. Next thing we know, we look up at the big screen, and then we hear that infamous car crash, and Mick, by God, Foley appears, and he's making a beeline towards Randy Orton. Now, Foley's so caught up with Randy that he eliminated himself while taking Orton out. But like good old JR put it, he just doesn't give a damn. So fast forward, everybody knew that coming into the match, Goldberg was going to be entrant number 30. Now Goldberg, he comes down to the ring and he hands out about 57 spears, eliminating 3 people quickly before Brock Lesnar, who's not even in the Rumble, shows up and gives him an F5. Now that allowed Kurt Angle to get behind him and eliminate Goldberg. So now we're down to 6 guys with the Big Show and 5 others trying to team up on him, but that backfires for most of them as Show eliminates Cena, RVD, Chris Jericho, and Kurt Angle. Now we're just down to Chris Benoit and Big Show. And notice earlier how I said most of them. Just as Big Show lifts Benoit over the top rope, Chris Benoit counters with the tightest front headlock that I have ever seen. And somehow, he was able to get the 500-pounder up and over the top rope to win the 2004 Royal Rumble. And yes, he was the first entrant. So for the Royal Rumble, I'm giving it a C+. Like, honestly, it just felt kind of flat. Even when we got down to the last 2, it was like nobody could care in the whole arena. And quite frankly, I just really wasn't that interested either. But hey, that's okay. We got done with another pay-per-view. We're done with another video. And y'all know the drill. We got all the grades in. Now let's take a look at the report card. After tallying everything up, we came out with a final letter grade of a C+. That's right, a 78%. Hey, this wasn't WWE's best pay-per-view by far, but again, they just lost The Rock, they just lost Stone Cold. You can't really blame them, and I don't really blame a lot of y'all for not watching me either. I know I suck, but for the few of y'all that do, I do appreciate you guys very much, man. And if you haven't subscribed already, do that too. But hey, other than that, I hope everybody stays safe and have a nice day.